Basically just got some nicer fish hooked up, guys. Okay, Stevo's cranking her in. Hooked up again, guys. A little bit nicer snapper. Pretty big ray here, guys. Got a nice snapper there, Stevo. How's that, guys? Welcome to Real Kiwi Fishing. This week I'm up Muriwai with Stevo. He's come up from Tauranga to set his tiki. So he's picked me up on the way, and I've helped him set it up, and it's out there now. So now it's my turn to flick out a bait on the surf cast. I've got the Kotare with me today, so hoping to get another few fish on that. So I'm just running a pretty much a dropper rig. It's one that I made myself. It's basically just got a swivel from my braid down to my hooks, down to my sinker. Got a breakaway there, 6 ounce. And I quite like running a longish sort of leader there for the hooks. Got double hooks there. So that's pretty basic, made it myself. And that's all I'm going to pretty much use today. So I'm going to cast it out. Obviously there's a little bit of current, rip out on the west coast. The old breakaway lands, gets caught in there quite nicely, and then my bait will just sit there nicely floating. Hopefully a big snap will come by. So I'll flick out my first bait and we'll see how we go. Stevo's wanting a fresh KIWI for the tiki, but I'm here for some snapper. So if I get a KIWI, it's all good. Bit of fresh bait, but hopefully I get into a few snapper today. Surf casting out at Muriwai. I'll flick out my first bait. Now I've actually got a little hole or little gut sitting out in front of me there. It's the high tide, and high tide's actually quite hard to fish. I quite like using the swell as a gauge, and I've talked about it a lot of my videos. You get the swell, comes up, breaks, and then it hits the holes or the little inside gutters and fades away. Got a small swell today, under 1 metre, so it can get quite difficult fishing that high tide, trying to find those spots. But there's a little gutter here. There's a little bit of a break out further, about maybe 100 metres, dies away a little bit. Gut's about 60 metres, so I'm casting into that. Hopefully there's a few fish coming in mooching. It's quite good on that smaller swell. Fish aren't too sort of scared to come in that turbulence, so see how we go. Hope to get onto a few fish. Hope you guys enjoy. Just got a little nibble, guys. Not too sure if it was a KIWI or actually felt like a little snapper. It's just amazing how these snapper come in and amongst these waves. It's quite turbulent. When I get those little nibbles, those little bites, I always get ready, take the rod out. You know there's something there that's interested in your bait. Just tasted it and hopefully it'll be back. I'm just running J curves today, so I've got to strike at the fish. Running a keeper. Actually fine here on Muriwai, when I'm using those J's I do miss a few fish. So I quite like running that keeper hook. Just gives me that better chance. Hooked up, guys, to our first fish. Feels like a KIWI. Feels like a goodie. So looks like Steve's got his wishes for his next tiki set. Always remember to use those waves. KIWI get off the line real easy. Good size too. And that's the thing, although I'm here for snapper, catching KIWI off the beach is actually a lot of fun. There you go. So that's not only a fresh bait for Stevo, but also for me, and maybe even a bit of lunch. Stevo's just bringing in the tiki, so I'll go up and give him a hand, and then see what he's got on there, help him clean it up and stuff. He'll probably do a second set, and then I'll come back down and have another flick with the surf caster. Just love surf casting Muriwai. More that low tide. We were here half tide coming in, so we were a little late. Had to wait for him to get up from Tauranga, so we were going to hang in here till tonight. Got that low tide about 8:30 tonight, 9 o'clock, which is perfect. So if we hang in there, I'll be able to fish those banks that I love to fish on that low tide. So I'll just help Stevo, and then we'll get another line out, guys. Stevo's just got a snapper, a couple of snapper. Another one. Another one there. Good that we got a couple of snapper. A lot of those baits would be baited. We're using that old mullet that you get from the gassy, and I've managed to catch us a KIWI with a surf caster for our next drop. So we'll probably stick it out here. Stevo did about a 40-minute soak. And all those hooks are pretty much debated, which is a good sign. There's definitely fish here. It's a nicer fish. We've just got the 3 there and a lemon fish, which isn't too bad. The fresh KIWI should help us. So I'm not casting too far. That little rut or channel that's just sitting out in front of me, it's probably about maybe 60 meters. So don't want to cast too far, don't want to cast over it. They're going to be coming in that little gut there feeding. So yeah, probably about 60, 70 meters out. Don't know if you can see it. Those waves just back behind these inner ones, dying away, just in that little hole. Hooked up again, guys. A little bit nicer snapper. Woo-hoo-hoo! snapper here, guys. That little hole's going to produce for me today. Nothing big. But a nice little fatty for the bin. Yeah. How's that, guys? There you go. Not a biggie, but not too bad for off the beach. It's my first snapper. Got that KIWI. Used them for some fresh bait. And I've managed to catch my first snapper. Just love that fresh KIWI. Hooked up again. Heaps of mullet in the waves. Remember to use those waves. Bring your fish in. Just a small fella. Probably still takeable. Walk down to your fish. Just a little fella, guys. There you go. Another little snap. He's probably takeable. Even if we were on the east coast, we're on the west coast today. So they're a lot smaller, but he's still probably 34 centimeters. Okay, guys, I'm gonna help Stevo set up for a second set. Caught that KIWI, which is good for a second set. Then I'm gonna head back up and get another bait out. Got a couple of nice little snapper there in the hole there. It's obviously fish mooching in there, so keen to get another bait out, but I'll help Stevo bait up, get his tiki out, and then I'll head back up there. So I'll flick out a fresh bait. It's going well, a lot of fun. Just love it, love fishing Muriwai in these small swells. They produce really well, bright as day. Fish are still coming in, feeding. So yeah, it's been awesome. Let's get another bait out. Basically on that low tide, I'd be walking across all this to that bank and then casting out. But yeah, so far so good. It's been an awesome couple of hours, that's for sure. Just about have to hold the rod. They're biting pretty quickly now. But they'll be mooching in there on that high tide, probably knowing that they got to get out of there pretty quickly as that tide drops. So they'll be basically feeding up hardcore. Just get in there, have a feed, and then leave on their outgoing. Stevo's just basically finishing off the tiki on the second set. See how we go. Around high tide, that hole or that little gutter's filled up quite well. It's deep enough. Like I was saying, those fish just come in that turbulence. They don't mind. Remember to use the waves. Walk down to your fish. There you go, guys. Little trevally. So we've got KIWI, snapper, and now trevally just sitting in that little gutter. It's been an awesome hour or so. A lot of fun surf casting Muriwai. I just love it. I'm going to get another bait in. Pretty big ray here, guys. The old Kotare did well. He's quite big. Big ray. I'll get the hooks out and get him free. Geez, he's quite big. Got to try and get him on his back, which they don't like. Hook out. There you go. Got the hook out. And the one thing, guys, is you don't want to just leave them on the beach. It's not their fault. They're just doing what they basically here to do. There you go. It's just down in there, plenty deep for him. He'll make his way out. So yeah, a little bit of fun on the surf caster. And like I was saying, don't leave them on the beach to die, guys. They're just doing what they're basically built to do. Get the hook out if you can, get them back in the water. Bit of fun on the rod, sending them home. So notice Stevo's just cranking in the tiki, so I'll go help him bring it in. And if he's going to do another set, I'll head back down and get another bait in. Actually feels quite deep there. Deeper than I thought, maybe sort of, I don't know, 10, 12 feet deep. Not 100% sure, but it just feels like the sink is taking a while to get to the bottom. So we'll get up and help Stevo. Okay, Stevo's cranking her in. Got a nice snapper there, Stevo. And another one, Stevo. And a gurnard. Okay, got fish coming on the sand. Oh, that's a nice fish there. That's the two that I said to Stevo to put in behind the sinker. Quite like having those baits in behind the sinker, that last sinker. See if we can get this shark. It's all tangled up. It's a hammerhead. A little hammerhead. Try and release him as soon as we can. I don't know if he's knackered. I think he might be. But we'll give him a go. A couple of snapper there again. Couple of nice snapper there, guys. managed to get that hammerhead away. So not a lot of current, looked like it was a pretty small tide. Stevo's got another little snapper. Another dogfish there. Couple of snaps. A little bit nicer one there. Hasn't been too bad. Couple more snaps, pretty good. There you go, guys. I think it's about six or seven snaps and a gurnard. It's not too bad. Yeah, probably around that 50 centimeters, the biggest. Got a couple there.
How many were in there?
I think about six or seven. Well, pretty much going to call it a day, guys. Had a bit of a fun day up Muriwai. Just a little bit of an adventure, catch up fish with Stevo. Brought up his tiki. And obviously I was here for my surf casting. So yeah, caught a few fish on the tiki and the surf caster. I thought what I'd do, the tide's gone out, I thought I'd come down and just show you where I was surf casting. And it was quite hard to spot, obviously because it was on the high tide. Now just here, right here in this little, it's like a little trough. That's where I was basically casting into. So there's my surf caster up there. And basically I was just casting right into this little trough here. You see where it's calm? It's got waves right here on the lip, calm in the middle, and then breaking out there. So that's basically where I like to fish, on the dead low tide, on that bank. So that bank's running right up there. And in behind that bank, this way towards me, is this little sort of channel, little trough. Runs up there, and that's where I was casting into. And what you'll find as that tide goes out, it'll obviously, it still might be a little bit water in that little sort of channel there, but that's where I'd cross over, and then you walk out onto that little sort of sandbar that's going to be showing up pretty soon out here. So that just shows you where I was fishing. I wasn't actually fishing on the outside, on that lip that I like to fish, because we were here on that high tide. So it just shows you those little sort of channels, those little troughs in close. You get fish in there. We caught some snapper, got the trevally and a few KIWI. So yeah, I thought I'd just show you that. That's what you're sort of fishing in on that high tide. And what was happening was, where it's breaking now on that lip, on that sandbar, that was where the waves were sort of building, and then it was hitting this little trough, the waves were disappearing, and that's where I was casting into. So hopefully that helps you guys a little bit for that high tide fishing on Muriwai. It is quite difficult to fish high tide. But yeah, we're going to call it a day. Hopefully you enjoyed our little adventure up Muriwai. And Stevo's got a few fish to take home, which is quite cool, back down to Tauranga. So hope you enjoyed it. Till next time, tight lines. Thanks for watching another great day out fishing with Real Kiwi Fishing. And you can also find more of my movies on my YouTube channel, Real Kiwi Fishing.